Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live today. We're so glad that you're able to join us for this very, very special back to school session. Those of you in our audience may have people in your family going back to school, normally around August, September. If you do, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear who in your family is going back to school this fall season. And we have a special session all about yearbooks. Yearbooks are a great family history resource, and we are so excited to be able to talk about them today. So a fantastic session lined up for you. Thank you all for joining us. If you haven't yet, please let us know in the audience where you are joining us from. I see Christina from the UK, Alexander from Australia, Susan from Florida, Dawn from Kentucky. So thank you all for joining us, and please leave us a comment. Let us know how it's going, where you are, what the weather's like, and of course, where you're joining from. So thank you all for tuning in today to our Facebook Live. For those of you who are new to our Facebook Lives, just to remind you that you can watch this Facebook Live as well as all of our previous lives. They're all available on the MyHeritage Facebook page under the videos section. So some fantastic content that we have there from various experts in the field of genealogy, family history, DNA, and of course, MyHeritage employees who have come on to tell us about tools and features, just like the recent Facebook Live that we had this week with our Director of Product Management who talked about the MyHeritage photo tools. So a lot of fantastic sessions that you can just go and watch at your own pace. From the comfort of your own home. And for those of you in our audience today, we will be doing a giveaway as well. So please leave us a comment in the comments section and let us know what you have found in school records. We'd love to hear what treasures you've discovered, whether it be, an old photo of your mother who was at school, or finding out that your uncle was in the school band. We'd love to hear what you've discovered. So leave us a comment in the comment section, and we'll be giving away a MyHeritage Complete Plan to one lucky winner at the end of today's session. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest. We have with us Thomas McKenty, a great friend of MyHeritage, and of course an expert genealogist. We just love having him on our show, and he is so
Hi there.
In so many. Hello, there you are.
How are you? I'm just checking my makeup. It's been a rough morning, so yeah, I tripped over a chair. I'm okay.
Oh no.
And then I asked my husband how I looked. He said, "Stunning. You look like crap," and I'm stunned. So, that's what happens when you live with a jokester. So, hi everyone. Glad to be here.
We're so glad to have you, even though it's so early in the morning over there.
It's all right. So yeah, I'm really excited about yearbooks. Because it's always about this time of year that colleges go back and high schoolers go back. And now, at least here in the US, we have all year school. So it's not a traditional, like when I grew up after Labor Day. And just so you know, I have found my yearbook online. I will not show my senior picture. No, I graduated back when the earth was still warm in 1980. And my college, I went to George Washington University in DC. When you get to college, yearbooks, I don't think are as popular. It was a big thing in high school. What about you for Esther? Esther, did you have a yearbook?
In high school, and I still laugh when I go back and read it.
Yeah, and did you have friends sign it and everything?
Yeah, of course.
On their senior photos, yeah, and that goes back way. I mean, if you look at some of the ones from 1930s and 40s at high schools, people would write little poems. I guess there were just these things that you would put in there. So so I'm all set, and I think that this is really a way that you can think out of the normal genealogy box. Use the resources for yearbooks on MyHeritage and make some progress in your research.
Amazing. So do you want to share your screen and then we'll get it up there?
That would be great. And here we go. And I'm going here. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to get started. Is that okay?
Let's just get it up. Perfect. Here you go.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we're here at Back to School Yearbooks, and my, look at all the hair hoppers from the 60s. That's the other thing about looking at these old yearbooks. My mother graduated, I think, in 61, and it's amazing to see all those 60s photographs. So, so at least here in the United States, yearbooks, you would think that they are more recent, but they go back to the 1880s. So linotype printing. The automated printing made it much easier to do this. Now, there have been yearbooks since the mid 1600s, but they were usually just scrapbooks that a student would keep. By the way, the first published college yearbook was Yale University in 1806. So also you need to keep this in mind. My ancestors really did not go to school beyond the 8th grade, to be honest. My mom graduated, I graduated. I was one of the first ones to go to college out of my 41 first cousins. So it depends on whether your ancestor did go to high school, completed high school, or college. So there are basic elements that you really need to know about yearbooks. And then I'm going to show you how to find them. In fact, I can do that right now. Let's switch over to here, and we're going here. And basically, this is where I am. Everyone knows that when I research, I tend to go to the collection catalog. This way I can pinpoint what I want to use. Put in a keyword right here, yearbooks, or yearbooks, or yearbook, and you'll see that there's a collection here. So I'm basically using this collection here. It says free, and I am logged in. So, and then you go ahead and put your name. And also, you know me, I tend not to search too narrowly. So I'm not going to put a first name. I'm hoping to find my father, Richard McKenty, his brother, William McKenty, any of them. So I'm not going to do, I'm just going to say New York, because they went all over upstate New York. And I'm going to go and do a search. And Viola, there I do. I get some things, and I know I just saw, this is my cousin Karen from 1977. And there's a Robert, there's a John. Okay, so, and there'll be different types of photos. We'll go over this a little bit more. Let me go back to my slideshow. So when you work with these, these are the most commonly found elements. And also in the 1950s, at least in the US, there were very few yearbook publishers. I think one of the biggest ones was Jostens, Josten. And if you also remember, there was a high school group, a yearbook group, a committee. They worked on it all year. So you could learn how to do publishing and all of that. It was a great set of skills to pick up as a high schooler. Okay, the cover. Okay, most covers, at least mine is in color, and it has a class photo on the front. My mom's is basically, they look nice. It's got the Libertas logo. I went to Liberty High School in Liberty, New York. Also, the title page. That's going to give you information such as school name, year, city, state, and you also might get some publication info for your source citation. The opening section and the dedication. So it's the welcome, and look at the dedication closely, because that might have information on a student who may have passed away, especially when you're talking World War II, Vietnam, and so you get more information on that. Also, the school administrators always come first, and they always have the title superintendents, counselor, school nurse, all of that. And yeah, so you don't know if your ancestor or someone you're looking for was a school administrator. That might be a great way to get a photo of them and more information. The faculty and the staff come after that. This would be all of the teachers, also nurses, cafeteria workers. So they do tend to, it's not always consistent, but most yearbooks that I've looked at have the administrators first, and then the faculty and the staff. Student portraits. So that might be headshots, could be seniors, but usually it's class photos. Anyone that's not a senior, that's not graduating, tended to be more in a class photo, a group photo. Now also in the US, High schools are configured differently. Traditionally, it was grade 9 through 12. That's how we do it, K through 12, kindergarten through 12. And sometimes there was a middle school for grades 5, 6, 7, and 8. Mine was different. I went to junior high school or basically the high school. I was in grade 7 when I started, and they grouped 7 and 8, and then 9, 10, and 11, 12. So it was all one school. Awards. If your ancestor had won an academic or athletic award, sorry, dry mouth. So this would be a National Honor Society here in the U.S. I was one of those. Also, if you lettered in athletics, and if you're not familiar with that here in the U.S., you would get a jacket with a patch, and ours was a bright red L, and you could sew it on, etc., because you had earned an award in a certain sport. And the school events, these I love. I saw all the dances my mom went to, school trips, a spirit week, spelling bees. Also back in the 60s, putting together a care packet, C-A-R-E, this is for refugee relief. And they had groups that did that. That's where I saw one of my mom's photos. And also keep in mind, those events, you can actually add them to the story or the biographical sketch about your parents, grandparents, ancestors. And as I said here too, club and team activities, you get an idea of what the activities are, what the groups were. Believe it or not, I grew up with so much snow. We had one called the Snowball Patrol. And it was funny, they were making sure that people weren't hurting each other with snowball fights. And the senior class. This is probably the biggest part of a U.S. yearbook. You may get 2 or 3 seniors to a page with their photo. It tells you their address on many of them, which is great. Also, for those female ancestors, you get their maiden name. You see what kind of classes they took. Then you also see what clubs and activities they were involved in. And then candids. So candid photos were basically someone, a photographer, on the yearbook committee. By the way, those senior class photos were usually done professionally. Some schools would bring the photographer in. Some schools would have you go to a photography studio. And even some schools had strict dress codes. So with my mom, you had to wear a black blouse, and most of the girls had a string of pearls. So it all depends on where and when. But candid photos are great. And again, that just adds to what you learn about your ancestor. Advertisements. This is usually towards the rear of the book. This will tell you basically the local businesses. You get an idea of what the economy was like locally, who sponsored it. Also, sometimes the parents would just sponsor it, and they say, "Congratulations, Thomas McKenty, on graduating. Good luck at college." And so what that did is it really brought down the price. I have no idea now what a yearbook costs. I know for me in 1980 when I graduated, it was $20. So advertisements are important. So, and I'm going to go over here for a minute. I'm going to go back, and let's go ahead and take a look at my uncle's yearbook. I haven't seen this yet. So basically, you'll get this, and this is basically the text. There we go. And okay, so basically, John W. McKenty, this was for the 1952. So basically, he is running this business, and this was found in the business. Let me see if I can go back here. I'm going to maximize this. Yes, thank you. Hold on. Yes. All right. There we go. Perfect. Let's go ahead and see. I'm going to go to page 1 of this, and we'll see what we see. Yeah, well, this looks like this is basically all the cover is. It's called the Huguenot. Remember, New Paltz, New York is where my Huguenot ancestors landed in 1675. And you would go through, there'd be photos. And basically, this is some of that intro information. dedication. So let me see if I can enlarge this. See, I apologize for getting rid of this. I just want to make sure that you all can see it. So basically, yeah, these were Korean war deaths. So like I said before, this would do the dedication, and you would have that there. The principal, remember I said superintendents, admin staff first, our teachers, and this is what you're going to see. This is why I just asked Esther this. Very often, you would go around and get signatures from teachers, administrators, and basically not just autographs, but you'd say, "Can you sign my yearbook?" Because you want to remember that person. And so, yeah. So also sometimes there are very funny quotes, virtues of their profession. And these are just filler pages too. Remember, in the U.S., they're two-sided, so you never want to. Sometimes you want to end on an even page. Now, they're putting the seniors right up front, and so this is what they opted for. They're the leaders, and here we go. So I'm going to max this, and these are the seniors from New Paltz High School. You notice that there's no dress code enforced, which I can understand. I love the little quotes, don't blame me. And peaches and cream complexion. You have no idea what you can find. Enthusiastic seamstress. And sometimes it will say where they are off to college at. And so that's how that goes. Let me just breeze by this. I don't want to bore you. And the thing is, I don't know about you, but my graduating class was 100 people in 1980. I mean, I grew up in a real rural area. My husband graduated in 1977 from Lane Tech here in Chicago, 1,500 people. He said that year they were the largest graduating class in the United States. And yeah, see, events, as I said, and I'm going to go back to the end to make this easier. Senior play. Oh, I thought I had gone. Sorry. We're going to go all the way to the end. There we go. Back cover. Back cover. This is the publisher. The ads, as we said before. And usually they're just business card size ads, and there will be a lot of them. Okay, gang, let's go. Yeah, there are a lot. Well, it was not cheap to produce this type of book. See, and then you have all the clubs. So that's basically what what everything is on a typical high school yearbook. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and let's go back here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my way. Remember, you're going to do research, collection catalog, put in the word yearbook. The other thing I want to point out is, notice here, I'm getting a few university yearbooks too. And so that's important. Yeah, and there are quite a few actually. So don't forget, you're not going to just look at this index. Make sure you look at everything. I could say yearbook New York. And sure enough, Yeshiva College, Yeshiva University, all of these, and they're basically just these 5, but they're in the larger index. So remember my rule, always search broadly. And go back to the slideshow. So these are my tips and tricks for clue gathering. And then I'm going to take your questions because I believe in keeping it sweet and short like me, right? So as I said, we want to use MyHeritage, but no genealogy vendor has a comprehensive collection. I use Google Books and the Internet Archive, okay? Also, if you know the name of the yearbook, that might help. This is how you would do that. I'm going to go to the Google right here, and I'm going to go to, let me see if I can do books. No, yeah, books right here. Okay, it's also books.google.com. I'm going to do Libertas Yearbook. That is what it was called. And they probably don't have it. let's do Liberty, New York yearbook. And no, so yeah, you also have to be careful of this. A lot of organizations did what they call yearbooks. So that was their annual. And so I'm going to do high school. I know that they're here, just so you know, yearbook. And here we go. We have some, and it doesn't mean you're going to have full access. So the other one that I use is Internet Archive, which is at archive.org. Oh, archive.org. This is out of San Francisco. I think they have 50 million different texts that are digitized. I want all books. And I'm going to go ahead and search. I'm going to do high school yearbook. And I apologize for anything that pops up here. I have no control over Internet Archive and what they're presenting. So, but yeah, look at this. These are full yearbooks. How many are there? 16,000. And remember, Internet Archive is free. So that's a good resource as well. So let's go back here. Thank you. Also, remember the home address is usually there for the seniors, and that's a good way to get information. Don't forget, 1950 U.S. Census releases April 1st next year. You need to know someone's address and determine enumeration district. That's a great way to do it. Also, the photos. Sometimes this is the only place you'll see these photos. My mother did have a nice holder for her senior photo, but it really depends on the school and the yearbook. Lists. Yes, the lists of people who are part of clubs, activities. Make sure you check those as well. And this is my rule. Look at the whole yearbook. Browse it. Don't try and search through it. Keep in mind that these are OCR'd, optical character recognition. What that means is it usually is only 80% correct. It's not always cleaned up. You might want to do some name variations if you're not finding what you need. And what I mean by that is this. Where are we? Here we are. So if I'm going to search for a name, remember I put in the name McKenty. Let's enlarge this. So I might want to do this, McKenty. I also want to check whether I'm matching exactly or not. And I could do right. And I could do John. I'm not sure if my dad graduated. And I'm going to say, I'll leave it as that. Yeah, let's go for it. So I did McKenty without the A. And sure enough, I get someone Miami, Massapequa, Forest High, so fool around with that as well. Check for military service enlistments. We already saw that in the dedication, the two men that were killed in Korea. But yeah, Vietnam, Korean War, there will be dedications. Also, you might see a list of people that are currently serving in the military. The time frame. Just like how city directories, that information is usually a year old, right? It was compiled the year before. Keep in mind that this yearbook had to go into production pretty early. You'll see two different ways. Some high schools did a cutoff in March, and that way it was available at the end of the year in June. That's the way mine was. I graduated the last Sunday of the month because I grew up in an area with a lot of snow days. Also, I've seen some schools do this, where you don't get your yearbook until the next fall. You have to pick it up or you get it mailed to you. And the thing is, if you're doing that, you're not going to get the signatures. So I like it when there is a March cutoff. You get the copy, and then probably the last week of school, you can go around and have people sign it. Businesses and sponsors, look for not only your ancestors, but also what kind of businesses were in the city or town. Copyright. There was a recent case in California against another vendor who we won't name. And someone had sued them saying that it violated privacy and copyright, and the California Supreme Court, I believe, said no. So this is the problem. Most yearbooks, if they were published before 1963 in the US, they did not have a copyright notice, then that's it, they're out of luck. And also you are dealing with information about some living people. So like my cousin Karen in the 1977 yearbook. So I'm really careful about posting that information publicly. It will go into my research, but I always ask permission. And so that's really just the right thing to do. Also, try to order the print copy. Watch. One of the resources you have on your list is a WorldCat right there. And what WorldCat is in the US, you have access to 2 billion different items that can be borrowed from a distant library and sent to your local library. So I might be able to do Libertas yearbook. And I'm going to go ahead and search everything. Aha, look at this. Yes. And so there might not be anything here, but yeah, you could do that. Let's do the New Paltz one, which is we just saw on MyHeritage. And the name of it was The Huguenot. And yeah, so here they have one from 1949. And here I can find out that the closest library is Allen County Public Library. And so I can actually have it sent to me and through WorldCat. It's either free or a very nominal price. Keep in mind that you might also be required to physically go to the library and use the book right there. Oh, wow. I can't believe that. We're done. I do want you to feel comfortable asking questions as soon as I'm done here. This is my email address if you want to reach me about MyHeritage and yearbooks. And also a little push, that's me and my ugly face. And check out my site on genealogybargains.com. Don't forget, I have under free genealogy, I have 33 different cheat sheets, PDF two-sided that you can really download and use. So that's it. Let's see, Esther. I'm going to stop my share. How was that?
That was great.
Okay. What did you learn? Did you learn something?
Yeah, well, I would have never thought to look in all those different places within the yearbook for all the context. And I think
exactly.
that it's such a smart point, because I think most often people are just looking for that one name and they find that. And
yeah. Well, this is why I have this thing. I teach several lectures on basically just slowing down and not going after the bright and shiny object, like, whatever you're looking for. Take your time, because, high school is an important part of a person's life. And really can go into their biographical sketch that you're going to write for them. So, yeah.
And it's such a good lesson for genealogy in general. I think that, like you said, the shiny object, and then looking around and taking your time, slowing down.
Yeah. So I see Denise has a really good comment. If a college yearbook is not available, go to the school site, go to the high school site or the college, and see if they have them available. You might want to contact them via email or phone. They may have a reference point for you. Maybe you can order one from the publisher, but also WorldCat is another great way to do that. So there is a handout. Do they have access to it?
Yep, the link is in the comments section.
Great. Okay. Great. So the nice thing is it's really got a whole page of links and resources. And that's just that. Cindy's list has a lot of yearbook links. So what else? E-yearbook. Let's see. Google has a university digital collection. I had forgotten about that. Wow. Hold on. Yeah, even I can learn some things. University digital collection. And yeah, they have them. They might be there. or I can do Google.
What is what is the most interesting thing that you found yourself, Thomas, in a school record?
Well, I didn't realize where my mom had lived, and now I know where it is. It was up on Chestnut Street. I didn't realize my mom was on the safety patrol. She was, safety patrol were people that stood in the hallway to make sure there was no running, etc. So it was just stuff about my mom. It really filled in that dash, and that's what it was. So that was probably the most important thing, you know. Yeah. So
Amazing.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
see a few nice comments here. Marion says she found a great school photo for one of her cousins in San Francisco.
Yeah. I like
And
it when you find the goofy candid photos and you go and you embarrass your parents and send it to them. But again, be careful on social media, especially if it's a living person, because there's enough information there with a woman's maiden name, her address, all of that, that someone that is doing identity fraud or that could use. So always ask permission or make it part of I have a private family group on Facebook. That's a nice way to share it. And also share your tree on my heritage. So
of course, and if you look up Yearbooks on MyHeritage, we have the option to colorize the photos as well,
yes, that's great. Yeah.
which is you
Yeah.
see details that maybe you wouldn't have seen before in those photos. And of course, you can always use the MyHeritage photo enhancer to see the faces
Right.
more
Right.
clearly.
Yeah. And Jane makes a good, Jane has a good point here. To look for teachers and administrators, but be very careful. She says, my uncle, who is athletic director, was listed as possibly 17 years old because that was the year of the yearbook, 1917. So, so there are different factors. Also, this means when you're scrolling through results, go and look at those results. I mean, it's a clue. So
Right.
great question. Yeah.
Let's see. There's just so many nice comments here. Um, let's see. Irene says, I had my brother's yearbook and he graduated from the same school I did, but 14 years earlier. It was a great timepiece. I called the school and found out they would value more from it, and I sent it to them for their archives. Felt great. That's so nice.
Yes.
What a nice
Yes.
donation. I'm sure the schools
Yeah.
love to have copies from every year. And now the next person
Yes.
that calls them will have they'll be
Right.
able to scan a few
Right.
pages.
And the funny thing is, I watch like Law and Order and Chicago PD and all those stories online. And the one episode, they went to the high school and they're trying to look up someone who had graduated. And what does the administrator do? Pull out a yearbook. That's the easiest way, So yeah, they are really great resources. I wish there were more European yearbooks. I guess it's not a big thing in Europe. What about Israel? Do you do them in Israeli schools?
I don't even know. I'm guessing
Okay,
yes.
all right. I'm going to ask Daniel because he has, someone that recently graduated. So I'll ask Daniel Horowitz. So yeah.
I'm guessing my kids are still a little too young for that.
Right. So the other thing, if you don't mind, can I share my screen again?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I just want to do this screen share. So just so you know, I have an email list, and I'm going to go ahead and put this link, or I'll have Esther put it up. If you want to get on my email list, just sign up, and then you can unsubscribe at any time. What I do is I put out a lot of free cheat sheets. Today, I will be writing about the 19th Amendment, which gave the women the right to vote in the U.S. And so it's kind of a quirky day in history, and it's a whole mix of stuff. And crazy me. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So if you do want to, you can do that. And yeah, it's great. It's one of the main ways that I stay in touch with genealogists. I have about 11,000 people on the mailing list. And so if you don't mind, Esther, I'm going to go ahead and send you that link. If you will repost it, that would be great.
Of course, we'll put that in the comments as well. Chris is asking, where's the link for the handout? So just scroll up in the comments, Chris, and you'll find you'll find that link to the handouts. We've put it there to Thomas's handout, and it's actually on the My Heritage Knowledge Base,
Yeah.
which is a great place to look for lots of other content as well.
No, seriously, I used a knowledge base yesterday because I wasn't sure about a certain record set, and boom, it's right there. I love the knowledge base. And now that's also available free. You don't have to have a subscription, correct?
Of course, no, it's tons of information about all my heritage tools and features, about genealogy in general, DNA. It's just a great resource, and we're adding to it weekly. So new webinars, new articles, new how-to videos, and new handouts.
Yes. Yeah, great, perfect. So, well, it's 7:40 here, and I think I'm gonna enjoy the day and get some sun. I just bought a cool pair of sunglasses.
Amazing. So should we just do our giveaway? We'll give away my Heritage Complete plan?
Do it. Okay. Yes, let's do it.
Great. So thank you everyone who left comments in the comment section. And our winner for today was Mark Papado. And Mark wrote to us, it's such a nice comment, Thomas, I think you'll like it. He said, in Europe, yearbooks are not as common as in the US, so I didn't know how useful they could be for my search until I found out that an ancestor moved to the US, and thanks to a yearbook, I managed to see one of his close relatives' photo and the address of the school. This helped me to locate the area where my ancestor lived and managed to be in contact with my unknown living cousins over there. At the end, they even provided me with some pictures of my ancestor, all because of a yearbook. This was the happy ending of a story.
Yeah, I know. That's really great. Yeah, especially if you have that. I was looking for my senior photo, and I just don't seem to find it. Imagine that. So, yeah. So I was going to show you my graduating picture, but I just can't find it, Esther.
Oh,
seriously,
no.
Seriously, I can't find it.
So we'll hold you to it next time.
Yeah. So this is just another skill set that you now have to go further in your genealogy research.
Amazing.
And I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations, Mark, and we'll be in touch with you through private message to claim your prize. And Thomas, thank you again. We love having you on our show.
Okay, I'm going to go and answer some of the comments on the Facebook page too. Okay, all right. Bye, everyone.
Have a good day.